Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Half the Race Gone for the Nukeshot Endurance Series Round 5. It's also Season 5 indeed, and it's Dragon Trail time. But, well, so far, when we've gone to imaginary Croatia, where we also are today, it's been the seaside layout that's been visited by the NES circus. It is, of course, gardens. Today, I have a slight feeling it's not gonna make it any less chaotic than what it usually is. And I'd say usually multi-class racing around Dragon Trail, especially the seaside layout, it does make for quite some racing indeed. We're getting close to the start of the two qualifying sessions, 10 minutes each for each of the classes. And we'll see exactly how everything's going to play out so far here in practice. It's been quite close, as you can see, between TSR, Martin and Armored. Maverick is there in the Tomahawk. CJ has yet to set a time here. Cinco's awake, at least we can see it. Jimmy's standing in for Ybear, I think, today, if I'm not completely mistaken. In the Nukeshot Toyota there, we've got the man formerly known as Swablu, ERT Ben, and of course still going at it in the Calsonic GTR. And there is Joe of the Fire, back as Joe of the Fire and not the Joe 2 guy. Of course, the very same person it is. So we'll have qualifying getting underway in, well, about 3 minutes time if everything goes to plan. And according to schedule, there is Wake yet again within a second of teammate Martin, you'd believe. Wake be able to more, but it's such a difficult track. It's such a technical one, and I think traffic is going to be edgy as hell here, to say the least. I think it's going to be tough for the drivers to get through. Oh yeah, and the techno quad. 4 apexes, loud techno in the middle. Well, what else? What else could it be? You completely forgotten about that. Oh, that lifted my spirits. Not that my spirits were low, but they are high as can be in the techno quad. I'm ready to rain. Still following around Wake. Maverick seemed to have bended. Jimmy's on a very good pace as he rounds the techno quad. Have a listen. We're just gonna be basically just joining the techno party, and where can we have a static cam from the techno quad? Anyway, of course, let's go over the lobby settings for the NES. As always, it's tire wear times 3, fuel depletion times 2, and heavy damage and slipstream set to real. And that doesn't mean that it isn't very strong in GT Sport. And the dirty air as well could very well make life difficult for the LMP runners. Speaking of LMP runners, let's have a look at the championship standings. As I scroll, I need to find it. There it is. So in the LMPs, it's TSR Wake in front of Volix Crazy John, and it's by just 4 points between them. And then it's quite a distance down to TSR Martin in third place with 27. Mind you, Wake has 47, CJ has 43. And it's a close battle as well. With the GTs in the Pro class, it's Joe of the Fire and Fred Dude separated by just 4 points. It's Joe of the Fire in the lead after he won the last round. Fred Dude has been on top so far. It's going to be interesting to see how they get along for the rest of the season. Opiolu is third with 35 points, so 15 points behind Fred Dude, and that's quite a margin as well. With that said, the cars are now on track for 10 minutes of GT qualifying. And good evening to everyone joining in. Good evening to the Lord. Good evening Maverick. And good evening to Felix as well. A pleasure having you all along. Thanks for joining in here. Early days. So I won't make the same mistake I made 2 Sundays ago with not drinking a coffee before the NES broadcast came to bite me right in the behind as I was very tired for the end of it. So here I am with my trusted coffee. As always, Mr. Swayze, the ghost, is here. But we saw you today, Felix. It was a brilliant drive in the IGTL. And I'm glad you think so, Rabbit. Welcome again. I hope you enjoyed the IGTL race. Certainly think it was a good one. When we're watching the 4 GT cars, maybe quite a small GT field for the race here, it seems. Of course, we could see more joiners coming along. As I mentioned before, Jimmy is standing in for Y-Bear. So we have the 2 Nukeshot Toyotas early out. Plenty of space, and it's of course gonna ease the load. Gives me a bit of a Samwise Gamgee moment there. Share the load, but that's not what I meant to say. It's gonna ease the load of traffic upon the LMP field. Spaces for Group 4. Well, you know what? If I was completely in control, Rabbit, I'd say join right in to throw some chaos in it. I don't think the drivers would appreciate additional traffic, though. I think especially the LMP drivers would be disgruntled, to say the least. Here's Fred Dude, also on the first flyer. Let's see, Jimmy must be getting close. Is that the Techno Quad? Can't hear the techno though. Let's try again here as Fred's gonna come past. There it is, new techno. Another techno than last time. Hello, Martin. Hello, hello, hello. So let's see Jimmy, the Scotsman, the Flying Scotsman. He was very quick in practice indeed. Crosses the line in 130.3, and that's only just gonna be bettered by Mr. Joe by 38 thousandths of a second. That's certainly quick. Fred Dude has been purple on his way around. Let's see what it is. Across the line in 1:30, 31, or 30.1. That is, of course, but a provisional pole by 0.2 of a second for the Belgian Fred Dude in the BMW M6. Now last to get across the line is the Calsonic of ERT Ben. the man formerly known as a shiny Swablu. So I, for one, am well pleased with this name change, and he actually goes very close indeed. Just manages to squeeze out the two Toyotas. And that's 3 cars within 1/10 of a second. That's 3 cars actually within half a tenth of a second. That is impressive indeed. Hello, Calster, the young one. Hope you're having a good evening here. Fred, dude, improving it seems. But by how much? Seems to go a little wide there in the Techno Quad. And Grid does seem indeed quiet, Martin. I don't know what's going on here with the NES. Joe off the fire in here halfway through. As Fred Dude takes it to the 29s with a 29.9. And takes it to the competition to improve upon the times already set. Here's Ben through the Techno Quad. Perhaps the most difficult part of the track to get right. Alongside the chicane, the launch pad chicane with those sausage curbs. But you can, in fact, put the car somewhat over if you place the car, if you get it right in the middle. There's Benny's going into the pits. Joe's breaking off. Jimmy's a little off on personal best. That's a good point, Calster. I've been thinking as well, like, but it's also the new NES format with 2 splits. That's, of course, proving a challenge. But I think if it keeps on running, it's really gonna have the prospect of becoming something really great. Imagine full lobbies on every race with this sort of format. That makes some excellent stuff here as Jimmy puts it into the grass. Watch out, there's another piece of launchy grass there on the outside. And where is Ryan? That is a good question indeed. I guess he was supposed to race here. Could have bleeding thumbs like he did 2 weeks ago after the IGTL race. Man, you're mistaken Scottish for Jamaican. Fred Dude on that outlap. There's 2.5 minutes left, so still time. Ben on the outlap as well. TSR Jimmy. So it's so close. 9 thousandths of a second between Ben and Jimmy, and then Joe off the fire a further 20 thousandths of a second down. Talking about absolute margins here in the GT Pro qualifying session. As Joe off the fire exits that final double left-hander to cross the line. I think that's going to be a very good time. It's going to be a provisional pole for the Wiggy Professor by almost 0.2 of a second up on Fred Dude. Well, let's see if the Belgian has any kind of answer to that. Jimmy seems to have had some kind of issue coming out the hairpin there. I'm not sure he's going to be able to improve this time around. We're on board with ERT Ben. So now the Erie's Racing team also represented in the NES, but that's not going to be a good lap. This quad apex corner, very strange indeed. Goes to get out of the way of Jimmy, who is on a fast lap and who could be on to something. Needs to improve. Just a slight bit, but it's all very close there. Just about half a second separating the four cars. And there's Jimmy getting, well, let's say he's just keeping alive the tradition of close margins here in the GT Pro field. 0.003 of a second off the time of Fred Dude. But I'm afraid it's not going to be enough for a front row seat for Jimmy just yet. And there isn't going to be time for another lap, or that is, the flag has gone here, so Ben can complete this lap. Joe of the Fire is 2/10 down here. Fred Dude could be onto something as well, but it's down. Just over a 10th down on the personal best of Fred Dude. So that'll be quite an improvement needed. Oh, and Ben going a little wide through the Techno Quad, missing one of the apexes there, but you're supposed to miss one of them. I think it was the right one indeed. Seems like the line, but it's so difficult to get it wrong. Or so difficult to get it wrong. It's so easy to get it wrong, it's so difficult to get it right. That's what I meant to say. It's the final double left-hander. The GTR clears it. As the LMPs are now getting ready. It's not going to be improvement for Ben. It wasn't going to be an improvement for Jimmy as well on that lap. Fred Dude is calling it quits. Here is Joe of the Fire. Final take for the witty professor, but I don't think that's a second slower. So Joe of the Fire, GT pole position in front of Fred Dude, and Jimmy and ERT Ben. And with that, I think the LMPs will be itching to get on track. That mute button on my microphone. So they're just waiting for the signal for the LMP qualifying session to get underway. They'll have 10 minutes of running. So it's 1.5 minutes till the LMPs after a qualifying session getting underway. Now, the LMPs here, it's going to be interesting to see whether Armored Core is going to have more than just qualifying pace. So we're going to have the race pace over CJ. I think the non-hybrid Tomahawks of CJ, I think Maverick was in here before, but obviously isn't really going to race, it seems. But they could be suffering somewhat, I think, compared to the hybrid Porsches. And you are racing Maverick, that's good. And Armored Core, of course, in that very futuristic Hyundai, the N2025 Vision Gran Turismo car. Strangely, Hyundai's iteration of what one of the hypercars of the next generation is gonna look like. Oh. See if it's better now without it freaking out. Oh, there it is. Green flag. That's car and car and car. Martin's out first, closely followed, a little too closely I think for their personal comfort. Followed there by Armored Core, Wake, Maverick and CJ, the 5 cars that'll make up the LMP field for today's race. The LMP centipede, indeed. There, that's the most centipede-y thing I've seen in a while, to be honest. Should Ryan even be racing? I don't know. I guess he could, but it would only be the top 2 TSR cars, counting towards the team standings. Besides that, make for filling the grid and pushing the level as well. Winner of last week's race, and a very dramatic finish indeed in the LMP class. Then from Red Bull Ring, as we had the wet qualifying session with the dry race. For an interesting one at the end, that is for sure. So Armored Core about to start. The first flyer is very close between Armored Core and Martin in practice. Let's go on board here with the Hyundai N2025 Vision Gran Turismo car. Actually takes flight over that left-hand part of the chicane. Hairpin here, also always quite the challenge to get it right. The Hyundai seems very strong on its traction and on its handling indeed. I don't mind those 8 seconds, that's of course compared to the fastest GT time series. Armored Core makes its way through the Techno Quad. Yet another round of problems, joining problems for Roland, it seems. What a shame. Now let's see, what is it gonna be for Armored Core? Hello, Jimmy. Nice to have you along, mate. Nice to see you, I hope you're good. So there it is, Armored Core 1:16.7 Wake. Is half a second down at the moment. Maverick 2 seconds down in the Tomahawk. There's Martin. 0.2 of a second down. CJ on the outlap. Provisionally, it's Armored Core and the Hyundai on pole position. A very good evening to everyone joining here as we're having the LMP Pro qualifying underway. It's been going on for well, just about 4 minutes now. We've yet to see the pace really materialize for the Porsches of Martin and Wake, it seems. Armored not able to improve. Martin, though, on a purple lap this time around. Let's see what it's gonna be for the Dutchman. Seems to be flying time. It's a 16.3 for TSR Martin, 0.4 of a second clear, and the fastest time by far that we've seen, both in practice and in qualifying here for this race. Impressive pace from the TSR Dutchman. Wake not improving upon his lap before. Maverick, though, getting close, it seems. And let's see CJ down towards the techno quad he comes. And through it as well. Just getting that Vettel-ish wide. Seems to be okay. Final 2 corners. Not the cleanest of exits for CJ, but he lived with it. And now let's see what's gonna be on the line. Exactly 1 second off Martin, and it's gonna be very close to the time of Wake, though. There is a little bit to do, of course, with the ballast they're running as well. Armored Core still running very low ballast. I think Martin has some, but not much. Tire change. A tricky track for Group 1? Well, indeed it is, and it does also favor the handling strong cars, and I think they're gonna be happy there isn't too much GT traffic today. The field isn't too big. There's half a second worth of penalty there for Martin. That's on an outlap, so it doesn't really matter at all. But anyway, I think the traffic gun could, and if they'd had like a double-sized GT field, that would certainly have been a noteworthy obstacle to get around on a track like this. I think even just the 4 cars could turn out to be difficult, but we're gonna have to see about that. Traffic giveth, traffic taketh. Armored Core in 3 minutes left. Just over 3 minutes. I'm sorry. No, that is, of course, correct. 3 minutes left of the LMP qualifying session. It's still Martin on provisional pole. 4 tenths up on Armored Core. And then a further tenth of a second down to CJ. CJ, who's improved quite notably there. Only half a second down on Martin. That's a really good lap to put in the Tomahawk. Well, Seaside has made for some great races over the last couple of seasons, but I think that chicane and the traffic as well, it's a tricky one to run with traffic. Well, CJ's trying to time it, I think. And so would Wake be here with 2 minutes left of the session. Martin is on a flying lap. Coming through the final 2 corners. Just get a good run. Oh, just gets a little wide from that final corner. Let's see what is it gonna be for Martin. It's not gonna be an improvement. Half a second off. Armored Core through Sector 1. 4 tenths of a second up on Martin's time. I think the American really just has thrown caution to the wind here. and is going absolutely for broke. Still a minute left of the session. We're leaving it late. Not that late though. I hear the techno quad. Are we even hearing the music? Maybe it depends on what time of day is being run. The Hyundai indeed should be strong here with its handling. Look how low it is to the ground as well. Futuristic Vision GT machines. Cross the line there in a 1:15.8 more or less. Armored Core half a second clear of TSR Martin, who has not managed to improve. There'll be one final lap for him. There'll be this lap to go for CJ. This will be the final lap for Wake, I think as well. It's going to be very close. Oh, Wake kind of bends it there on the exit. Will just about make it. Oh, is that going to count for Wake? It's a good question. I think he was just about too late. And Maverick's going to cross the line. Very close to improving. Armored Core a slight bit off. Let's see what about TSR Martin. Tacking up towards the Sector 2 timer. There it is, but far away down. Just kind of bended, I think. Wake has called it off. So I think CJ Hastad looks like somebody who's paused to me. And that must have been the final lap then, put in by Armored Core. So indeed it is Armored Core on pole position in front of Martin by quite a handy margin. Further half a second down to CJ, Crazy John, the Volex driver. Wake is there for TSR in fourth. Of course, CJ and Wake having a close title fight. Still going at it. And Maverick in fifth. And then we should have the race starting in, well, it should be around 3 minutes from now. But I'm having an idea it's going to be a little bit more than that. So an extra bit of practice, I was about to say, but that's going to be made difficult when we've got insane Dutchmen going around the track in the wrong direction. Hey Cody, well, it's nice to see someone who's bumped heads with Apple since the days of GT6, and well, on yourself, nice to see how far you've made it in the world of GT Sport, and that's, to say the least, it's to the top. So best of luck as well with the upcoming World Tour events and such. And indeed, I as well have been driving with Apple since the days of when we held the 25 minutes of Le Mans on GT6. And I think actually my first couple of races was even when before I got my first wheel. When I got my first wheel, that was a Logitech, what was it, the Driving Force Pro for the PS2 actually. But it was pretty okay for the PS3, but it was a horrible wheel and the pedals was imprecise and it wasn't good. Then I joined the G27 club. Oh, that changed everything. Seemingly Fred dude having a bit of trouble here. Let's go on board with Joe of the Fire. How iRacing is going for me? Well, I haven't really been racing for a long time. I've been busy with all sorts of. I've been away to Spain, and then I've been looking for a new job, and I've been doing all sorts of stuff. So it actually turns out I haven't really raced on iRacing since the 24 Hours of Spa. I did a MX-5 race at Tsukuba yesterday, and I was actually in the lobby with Juan Manuel Brea of the IGTL fame as well. Of course, he was on pole position. I think I was 9th on the grid, and I got wrecked on the first lap. So welcome back, bruh. Missed ya. iRacing has missed ya. At least the dude had the decency to apologize, but I mean, I got straight taken out. But as I'm understanding it, there's going to be IMSA racing at Laguna Seca, which is a track that everybody has from the start, and I have a car, and I have some teammates as well who can do these IMSA races. If it's even endurance, I'm not actually sure. There might be endurance and standard, just like the VRS, but nonetheless, some multi-class IMSA racing from Laguna Seca. That'd be enjoyable. Hello, Axel. Nice to have you along. I hope it's going well. I hope you've all been enjoying your weekends. I certainly have, except for the fact that I've been sick for the entirety of it until today. It's been getting better and better as the day's been wearing on, but still a little worn, especially the poor old vocal cords. As you can hear, my apologies are in place for this event. So, but iRacing is going well. Apart from that, it was nice getting back. I did some running in the Audi R8 at Laguna Seca today, and it was so much fun. Traels is also about to get some fiber internet again, which means that he'll be much more able to do some stuff with it and to make some content as well, which I'm very much looking forward to seeing. The Daytona road course on GT6. Martin! Yes, I did a little bit of iRacing, but oh yeah, I did iRacing, yeah. I got killed in a one MX-5 race at Tsukuba. I got absolutely murdered on the first lap. I braked as hard and as late as humanly possible into what's actually, I guess, turn 3 or 4, the left-hand hairpin, and still the guy behind me just rapidly became bigger in my mirror until I was just murdered. But I'm back in iRacing as well. And I think we're gonna be doing, there's gonna be IMSA at Laguna Seca, if I've understood everything correctly, when as the first round of the new season, which is something I can do because I have the track and the car. Oh, nice pirouette there, Wake. The tires will have loved that one indeed. Here, the one thing you can say about the Tomahawk is, especially the Group 1 version here, it sounds hella good indeed. Jimmy's done parked it. And there's Ben through the techno quad. I just love that when the car's passing by and when you hear that. Gotta give him, and I've said that before, but the overall sound design and like the spatial sound design, I think is what you would call such. And GT Sport is very well done. It's very well made. And not too far away from Jimmy's practice time here. Joe asking everybody's ready, and I think if everyone is ready, then we're about to have the race start. With Martin, who takes a very sideways approach to this technical middle sector and then the techno quad. There is running for the toilet. Well, he will be he'll be in a hurry then. Here is the running order, the grid order for the pro split of the 5th round of the 5th season of the Nukeshot Endurance Series. Of course, it's Erebus as always in the safety car. We've got Armored Core on LMP pole in front of Martin, CJ, Wake, and Maverick. And then Joe of the Fire is on GT Pro pole in front of Fred Dude, Jimmy, and of course Ben of the iRacing team. So the warm-up lap, the formation lap underway. Armored Core. Does he have a grid penalty? I think he does have. He makes sure of that himself. So it'll be Martin and CJ on row 1 with that. And then Wake and Maverick. Let's see, Joe of the Fire, Fred Dude, Jimmy, and Ben. It could be any one of those 4 running away with it. All 4 had both speed and consistency, and I would say enough to win this one. And it's all, I think, gonna come down to who is able to navigate the traffic and this twisty, difficult, imaginary Croatian track indeed. And as well, so they're coming up onto the Well, I was about to say the back straight. It isn't at all the back straight, it's the middle straight. If you position-wise, is of course towards the end of the track and towards the final 2 corners here. The start-finish straight. The back straight would be down towards the hairpin. And as I mentioned, a very technical course indeed now. A bit of a surprise, but it's Martin leading them out. He's gonna be the pole man. It's his to decide when to press the loud pedal, and he does so. And look at that, the hybrid power of teammate TSR Wakes Porsche 919 blitzing away from the rest of the pack there. Let's see if the GTs get away as cleanly as well. I think Ben has made a good move there on Jimmy. We shall have another look. See if there was something we could catch here on board with ERT Ben. We got in front quickly there. But he isn't holding on to it, I think, because Jimmy's back in front. And here it's the 2 TSR Porsches breaking away. Early days, Armored Core. Suboptimal start for him to be hanging around a second behind CJ already. And of course, race tires, race fuel, it might be very different, but he is indeed running super softs as well. Let's see, Martin here, he's running super softs. And it's actually everyone but Maverick in the LMP field seems to be running the super softs. Let's just see with the GTs. It is super softs all the way through. Does make sense, as there is a high need for mechanical grip around this track. The LMP's rounding the hairpin. Still within 5 seconds, all of them there. See here the GTs. There's a bit of a battle there between Fred Dude and Jimmy's getting the better of the Belgian, it seems. Down towards the hairpin. I think he'll have the launch there around the outside, so he does. And the Scotsman up into second place. Gonna have another look. Oh, it's Fred Dude who goes wide from the launch chicane, and that's always easy to get wrong. Just like that. Good stuff from the Belgian to actually get back. But there wasn't really any way to defend that one. Jimmy up into second place in the GTs. Now he's gonna be able to help Joe of the Fire break away from it here. And oh, Maverick has had some kind of incident. Without the range, outside of the range of our replay there, but it's been in to fix whatever damage was picked up from whatever incident has happened to Maverick. Poor luck for VLX Maverick so early on in the race. Martin is extending the gap very nicely indeed. 2.5 seconds already down to Wake. A further 1.2 seconds down to CJ. With the Greek, the Mad Greek, and the Armored Core. The young American in 4th place at the moment. We're on to lap 5. That's effectively, of course, lap 4 of the 47. They'll need to do today. Jimmy's doing a good job of hanging on to the tail of Joe of the Fire. Those 2 Nukeshot Toyotas are looking very good indeed. Fred Dude is, though, hanging on as well, and Ben See the gap down to ERT Ben is 3.2 seconds, so there is a bit of catching up to do. It won't take much for the GTR to be right back into contention. 2.7 seconds is now the advantage. Martin is indeed as well on a purple lap here. Early days, but he's really pushing the advantage. The Dutchman in the cam hatch liveried Porsche here today. And it should be mentioned, it's livery day in the NES. So the teams are running alternative or custom liveries, one-offs, specials, and so on, as you'll see here. The Volex Arctic Camo Art Car looking very good indeed as well. And there was also some chameleon-ish color change going on with Armored Core's car. He's struggling to keep it composed through that chicane, it seems. CJ won't let go of Wake in front, and that could be important for the championship standings in the end. And here, Jimmy now really getting close to Joe of the Fire as well. Thinks he gets such a good run, he's not gonna go for a move. Is that just because of the lighter car that Jimmy is running? Seems to be a lot quicker. Wancam and Fred Dude is right there as well. And just as I say that, Fred Dude has a little bit of a moment. Now let's see, here it is. The Belgian, oh, just managed to keep it in, but close call. And just with that, we have had a switch of positions into the hairpin. Through goes Jimmy on Joe of the Fire. It did seem that the Scotsman have a quicker pace. Should be let through in all fairness of things. It's already put 0.8 of a second into Joe of the Fire, who's now falling back into the clutches of Fred Dude. Seems to have a very good pace in the M6. Now Martin's getting past on Ben there, and then coming up. Well, look at that now. Armored Core catching up to CJ and Wake. So that's a trio of cars beginning to catch up to the GTR of Ben, and that's gonna create the first. Oh, CJ just throws it in there. Armored Core's gonna lose out. He's stuck behind the GTR for now. There, he can get past, but look, it's just blown out the slipstream immediately. As we say that, Martin is passed on the two leading GTs, the two Nukeshot Toyotas. Oh, Wake! That almost became a Belgian calamity, and there it did! And that's contact between Fred Dude and Wake of the TSR team. And there's no damage, or is there any damage to the car, Fred Dude? Nope, there is no damage to the car, Fred Dude, so it won't be any safety car out this time around. However, we are going to have another look at the whole situation here. CJ and Armored Core is going to be very close as they both get a little bit muscly, go through on the two GT leaders, and then they're going to go side by side, it seems, into turn one, and CJ, I think, is going to keep position. Now what happened here? as Wake was catching up. Let's go on board with the TSR Wake. Well, you could argue that Fred Dude turns into him. You could also argue that Wake goes for a gap that certainly isn't going to be there at the apex of a corner. Since it's the responsibility of, in the end, the responsibility of the faster car to find the right place to overtake. It's not necessarily said that was such. Oh, and that's Armored Core on the wall! Armored Core is in the wall! Seems it's a solo accident to me. He goes wide, he loses it. Oh, straight into the barrier indeed. But another solo incident. So that's not gonna bring out the safety car as well. Even though it's 2 solo incidents, that's gonna be very costly for Armored Core. I think Maverick did of course suffer there early on. Damage indeed, very much so. He has engine damage, I'm quite sure. Indeed it is engine damage in there to get it fixed. That cost some time. Cost a lot of time for the Hyundai of Armored Core. Back out, and Wake running damage as well now. Front arrow, front right suspension to the 55 TSR Porsche, and that is don't know if it will, but it could require a pit stop in the end for Wake as well. Martin is looking very strong though. Yet another fastest lap. Down into the 16s now, 16.7 with a 9.5 second advantage down to CJ. And the Porsche 919 is running rings around the opposition for now. I'm surprised not to see the Audi R18 hybrid running this season. It seems a lot of the teams has gone for a change rather than what they know is quick. Well, TSR, they've gone for the tried and tested Porsche 919. And of course on these technical short straight tracks, this really is not a high top speed one, but so many acceleration zones, that's going to fit the 919 perfectly. Well, is that the pit stop for Wake? Yes, of course, and that's also the reason why Martin and CJ is now over 20 seconds clear of the rest of the LMP field. And it's Wake, Maverick, and Armored Core, the running order for the rest of the bunch now. Jimmy is leading Joe of the Fire by 1.5 seconds. It seems the witty professor is struggling ever so slightly. Of course, Fred Dude very unlucky to get that bit of contact there from Wake earlier. Of course, lucky to escape with no damage, but he certainly lost time. He lost crucial time in the battle against Joe of the Fire. The two are having their own scrap in the championship here. Through goes Armored Core on Fred Dude's BMW, and a safe passage this time from the Hyundai. I did have a hint. Let's say I did have a hint that the traffic is going to be very tricky today as well. Here is CJ 11.5 seconds down. He's bleeding time to front running TSR Martin at the moment. And he's just going to want to keep it clean and consistent. Hopefully be able to finish in front of TSR Wake. We're going to see about that come the end of affairs. We're about 1/4 of the way through the race. We will be glad he got that damage repaired, I'm sure. And of course, he could be in a much worse position by now. Again, Armored Core, personal best lap time. He's gonna try to dip into the 17s, but he's got nowhere near the same kind of pace as Martin. It seems a big dip from qualifying to race pace. For some reason, for Armored Core, be it fuel load or whatever, can't seem to really make too much sense of it. Let's see what this lap is gonna be. Oh, that's somewhat closer to the qualifying pace of the American there. 1:17 dead. And then I'm less worried about the pace of that Hyundai. Let's just see Martin. It's looking real good. There's CJ, second place. And for all, I think, take a red flag for the race now and the points, please. Because Wake is certainly gaining. It's been around a second since last time I checked in. And it is every time you can utilize that hybrid system, and the Porsche 919 just eats into the advantage. And to be fair and to be honest, I think it is very hard work to find a fair BOP that'll match the hybrid against the non-hybrids. So in that sense, he's really up against it here, CJ. And of course, some of these Vision GT cars are somewhat more reminiscent of what I think we can expect from the coming 2020 regulations, for the hypercar regulations to come. I mean, if you have a look at this Tomahawk machine here, wouldn't be too far, I think, from could maybe expect from such a regulation set, although it does look concepty, to say the least. It is, of course, also a concept car now in running order in the Vision GT spec, Group 1 spec, but still interesting. Some of the other Vision GT cars are really also in that direction. Can't wait to see more of those 2020 cars revealed, as more and more manufacturers are joining in on the format that's gonna revive the top tier of endurance racing. As CJ has a big moment, and off he goes, only to rejoin, but it isn't gonna be any sort of help whatsoever here. Joe of the Fire is now behind Fred Dude. That might be worth noting. The Witty Professor has lost the position to the Belgian, and he did a 31.8 on that last lap. He's pinning in now, and that's very worn tires as well for Joe of the Fire. The question is it going to be a 3-stopper? Interesting stuff indeed. Wake. That's through on Joe of the Fire, of course, just rejoined. Jimmy still leading the GT class comfortably by 3.5 seconds. Although, see if the gap is going one way or the other for Fred Dude in behind. It seems pretty stable. It seems even that Jimmy is extending it. Of course, Fred Dude also somewhat hampered by the success ballast they are running. But now with a 14, almost 15 second advantage. It almost takes flight. Look at that. That's what I mean with launch pad chicane. Gets it perfectly right the first part of it. Just gets it wrong the second one. Doesn't suffer any worse than that. It just goes to show it's very fine margins indeed. CJ is really beginning to be marooned on an island in between the two TSR Porsches, with around 15 and 18 seconds front and back. This time Wake got safely passed on Fred Dude. Fred Dude is going to be fuming about that one. I am certain, because he would have been right there up with Jimmy had it not been for that little bit of a calamity between the two. We'll see if the stewards are going to have a look at it post-race. Maverick in front of Armored Core. And he's hanging on to it here. Martin comes in for the first pit stop. Should be safely through and out when CJ gets that far. And that's just a short bit of fuel going on here. Armored Core going very wide. But managing to keep it under control here through the techno quad, but he's too far back on Maverick, that's for certain. We're on board with Armored Core in the Hyundai. CJ fits in here as well. Maverick goes very deep. And the question is if Maverick is gonna open the door for Armored Core this time around. And there isn't any way around here at all. Maverick defending very well here. Almost gets into contact with Fred Dude there. This time, it might be it for Armored Core. Let's go on board here with the Rolex Wang Cam. He's now got the Hyundai up the inside. He's gonna attempt a cutback, I think. No, it's not gonna have the space for it. Let's go back and check out what happened before. Oh, just about misses, or just about manages not to hit. Fred Dude is living on the edge, Bon Jovi style. Was close indeed, but they're all alive and well. And Armored Core's up into 4th place for the LMPs in the GTs. Still TSR Jimmy, but now just by 2.8 seconds. So the Belgian Fred Dude is gaining. Joe of the Fire 8.5 seconds down on the Belgian here, and then it's ERT Ben a further 14 seconds down. Haven't had the best of runs it seems so far, and just as I say that, in the techno quad, into the wall goes Ben. Really seems to suffer with the GTR here. Mechanical damage indeed. It's too bad it seems. The GTR now limping around. So Martin, after that first pit stop, CJ had his first pit stop as well, did a load of fuel there, I think. Martin now up by quite a margin. And CJ is getting picked up by Wake. And that's gonna be an interesting one for sure. The two championship duelants, so to say. It's advantage TSR Wake at the moment in the standings. On track, it's advantage CJ by 1.8 seconds. And the Belgian, though, should have the car advantage here, although CJ has the fresher tires, so there's a bit going in each direction, you can say. At the same time, in front, really pushing out the advantage. while Armored Core is gonna be trying to close the gap to those drivers in front. Somewhat more in front as well. Yet again on board with the TSR Porsche, but it ain't no Porsche, that's for sure. And Wake. Oh, that's a... Oops. Glad there was a lid on that one. Wake makes it safely through the chicane this time around, but loses out some time up to CJ. Let's see what that was all about. I think may Wake... So I was looking away for a short second. Here is Jimmy in the pits. Oh, that's somewhat long time to be stationary, but of course, with the need for a long pit stop, a lot of fuel to put in the car. And Joe of the Fire has gotten through on Fred Dude again, and Fred Dude is missing wheels. Funny to see that Polyphony hasn't picked up on that bug yet, actually. The missing wheels bug. It's kind of strange to see. It looks so weird. Throws you out of it, huh? Joe of the Fire here. And Maverick is in the pits, and he's out again as well. That was a quick one for VLX Maverick. Martin 25 seconds up on CJ in second place. So we're nearing in on the half the race distance. Yeah, but they've done something right, because it's still going round. But indeed, Felix must have done something wrong there. That would never have happened with Mercedes, but I mean, the last lap time, 1:29.7. It's not all bad. Is it the BMW hovercraft? About to get overtaken by Wake, but in a safe place into the hairpin there. No problem whatsoever. That's actually a very good point, Felix. That's a very good point indeed. That might be the future of racing cars. Say, what tires are you gonna need? Well, what are you talking about, tires? We're talking about at some point we're gonna wear off our rubber skirt. Oh yeah. Good stuff. I mean, it does. It looks completely ridiculous. Let's be honest. CJ, Wake, Armored Core. Stealth tires. Well, camera stealth. I thought like stealth was usually something you use to stay out of radar visibility, but not out of like regular. Like this is more like cloak of invisibility. I don't know what kind of wizard put the spell on the tires of Fred Dude's car, but it's working. Maybe they're so soft we can't see him. Indeed, Benji, it is multi-class. Indeed it is. Although the field is somewhat decimated here tonight. Usually we'd see a GT class almost double in size compared to what we have here tonight. I think the LMP drivers are quite happy that the GT field isn't too big. And as we were just talking about, something has gone very wrong, or some wizard has had a say in Fred Dude's last pit stop. On a serious note, that bug has been in GT Sport for quite a while now. Look at that, Fred Dude really beginning to catch up to Joe of the Fire. As I think that was Maverick just got through. Fred Dude on an absolute hammer of a pace. And the witty professor in front. That techno quad. Well, as you can see, Ryan, they're doing pretty well. With Martin leading, CJ second, and then Wake in third place at the moment. Although, oh, those tires are absolutely hammered. I think Wake has had some kind of a dodgy moment because he was very close to the end of CJ earlier on. He's lost big time as well to Martin, and now Armored Cores all over the back of the Belgian here. So it's not looking too good for TSR Wake, that is for sure. And the smooth style of Martin seems to be just above everyone else here today. The number 26 machine certainly hammering home the advantage for now. Half the race gone. Martin up by 28.5 seconds, get past on Jimmy here. So it's going to be the pit stop. That's going to rob us of the battle between Armored Core and Wake for the time being. But Wake, I think, needed that pit stop big time by now. And there's the Belgian back out. 10.5 seconds is what it cost. Here's Armored Core on the back straight. Now it's pit time for Joe of the Fire. He's gonna lose the lead. He's already lost the lead to Fred Dude, I think. Now he has, that's for sure. Jimmy is gonna go past as well. Out comes the witty professor. Let's see how is that gonna compare to tire strategy of the other ones. That's of course gonna give him fresher rubber than the other runners. Still pretty close in the GT Pro field between the top three. And nothing's really settled yet. In that sense, Martin still continuing to build upon the advantage As Armored Core is pitting in and reacting to the pit stop there from Wake, I think. And is he gonna get past? It's only just. But Wake does go past as well. Good call there, Ryan. Wake back into third place with the undercut and the fast lap in between. And Maverick by no means out of the battle for third place, just a couple of seconds back on the Volex Tomahawk. Meanwhile, Fred dude, what's happened here? Joe of the Fire. Oh yeah, he got out behind, that's true. I was confusing Joe of the Fire and Armored Core for a second there. I really am not befriending my microphone's mute button today, as I'm trying to do you all a favor, muting every time I have to sneeze, cough, and do all these sickly kind of things. But Fred Dude is comfortably, it seems, in the GT lead by now, for now, although Jimmy is now gaining on the Belgian BMW driver Joe of the Fire, just ever so slightly, seems to have dropped off the pace and is now just about 10 seconds down from Fred Dude. And then Ben another, but there is a pit stop from Fred Dude, so that might change the face of things here as Fred Dude comes in for a stop. Tires and some fuel, even though he has half a tank already. Find that somewhat surprising, to be honest. He chooses to carry around so much fuel. It seems to be an unnecessarily large load to carry, and he's out, but he's out 4 seconds behind Joe of the Fire. Now getting caught by, that's Maverick. So with that, Jimmy is back up into the GT lead in front of Joe of the Fire, then Fred Dude and Ben and Martin. Well, he's up by 34.5 seconds on Volex and Sijan, the crazy mad Greek. In second place, having done a very good job so far of just keeping it clean. You Wake up by just a second in front of Armored Core. Those two are really having a battle of their own. so far, the Belgian just about being able to hold on to third place. That might all change, that's for sure. Just also with the need for a fresh cup of coffee. I left these two about a lap ago. It's still very close between them. As a matter of fact, Armored Core is edging closer all the time. Martin's pitting in for his second and final pit stop. It's been so smooth sailing for the Dutchman so far in this race. And there it is. CJ pitting in as well. That's his final stop too. He's gonna need much, if any, fuel on this stop. Might be needing a little bit, but I don't think so. That's a splash and dash, if ever there was one. Just about 14 laps of racing left. Wake is still hanging on to third place. That's important for him, in order for him to be able to be within contention. Stay close to CJ, and the championship here is... about to say Armored Core getting close. I think the dirty air is making it difficult for the American to really getting within striking distance. This time might get it just close enough to have a look into the hairpin, but nothing more than that. They're a little bit of a bad exit, but he's gonna use the hybrid power to just pull away. Here the Techno Quad banging as always. It's now Jimmy leading Joe of the Fire and Fred Dude in the GTs. There's one leader coming up to lap another. With Martin getting around on Jimmy there. CJ still second overall. And in the LMP Series, Armored Core's right on the tail of Wake. They both get through safely on Ben of the ERT boys, the Aries Racing team. Still a close fight here as we go on board with that Porsche 919 Wang cam here from TSR Wake's car. Still about half a second. So close. Armored Core just doesn't have a straight that's long enough for him to really get close. We're on board with the Hyundai. I have a crazy dog trying to lick my face. Stella, the half the race dog. He's here with me in the couch. Coziness. Oh, a Armored Core! That's a brilliant save! That's a very brilliant save. Just gonna have a look from outside of the car. Just exactly what happened. Goes wide, gets the rear end onto the grass and almost loses it. I think he'd be cooked there without the four-wheel drive system of the Hyundai in that situation. See Jimmy, very worn tires there indeed. Wonder how many laps they're gonna be behind. 5, 6, I guess, by the end. As Martin is closing in on the final 10 laps of racing. That isn't going to be much more than 10 minutes in turn. So TSR Martin looking very good. It's just his to lose by now. So there's Martin. And let's see here, Wake still hanging on to that third place. In between them, of course, is the Mad Greek holding on to second place. That's why it's also so important for Wake to hang on to third, because in turn CJ isn't gonna make huge gains on him. Those two still very close in the championship. It's Wake nursing a little bit of an advantage. There, I think Wake finding it necessary to pit in with 11 laps of racing left. That's a bit of a surprise, I think. Maverick is just gonna get through as well. So that's Maverick up into 4th. Armored Core, the question is, can Armored Core go all the way? I'd be surprised if Armored Core is not going all the way. So close to the line now, and that's could turn out to be a costly one to make for Wake, as they're getting passed on Jimmy, the GT leader here. Joe of the Fire is not too far back as well, just 1.6 seconds by now. The Witty Professor really closing the gap up to the second of the FT1s by now. I don't even say it right. So that might have put a lid on the battle for third place. Battle for the lead in the GTs is very much still on here. In comes both Joe of the Fire, Jimmy, who was the third one to get in. I think there was 3 cars, or it was just 2. No, Maverick came in as well, so it wasn't the 3 cars. Maverick's out. There's Joe of the Fire. It's gonna be in front of Jimmy, I think. Jimmy way over fueling. Mind you, Jimmy, gonna be so much fuel up on the end. That's... Ryan, if that would happen this time around, I really would lose my voice this time out. Already now, after that IGTL race earlier, there's too much left, I'm feeling. I just made another cup of coffee to stay woke, so to say. Martin, CJ, Armored Wake, and Maverick. That's the standings in the LMP Pro field. Now Fred Dude back into the lead in front of Joe of the Fire, Jimmy, and Ben, and that is how it stands in the GT field at the moment. Joe of the Fire with 9.4 seconds to close up to the Belgian in front. That's quite an advantage by now, it seems. And Fred Dude, whose tires isn't that dead, although of course with mistakes like that, it's going to make it all the more easy for Joe of the Fire to complete the mission. And in does Fred Dude, comes in here. So not exactly final lap. Not exactly Calster, not yet. We are closing in on it, but it's not exactly there. Joe of the Fire, Fred Dude now really close. Fred Dude has gotten tires back in his car, and he's really gotten joined by the witty professor here. Let's just see if we can, just how close they were. Fred Dude just hanging on to it as they came out the pits. And here it is, Joe of the Fire coming for the outside move into the chicane. Side by side, the two are. It's gonna be the cutback. Fred Dude defending it well for the time being. The Techno Quad has really become the Techno Quad now. They are changing songs as time goes on. They got some proper... It's not proper Thunderdome, but it was gritty indeed. We're on board with Fred Dude here, the wing cam from the leading GT BMW here. Look at the different lines through that final corner. Fred Dude aiming more for exit speed, seeming to have good success with it. Fred Dude did just stop again, rapid. I don't know why. I think he could have run to the end. I think they sometimes forget that they're not doing the full 48 laps for the GTs. They're going to be doing 41 or 42, I think. Calster, the drivers pick their cars themselves. There are 2 of each car available for the series. I don't think every Group 3 car was necessarily available. I don't remember. So here they come to the Techno Quad. You hear that in the background? Let's see here, Martin. Closing in on the final 5 laps of racing with an easily attainable half a minute gap down to CJ. Further 14 seconds down to Armored Core, who's in turn got 10 more seconds down to Wake. It seems it has been settled more or less. course it does sound good indeed. Fred Dude, Joe of the Fire. Fred Dude is really extending the advantage down to the Witty Professor. Seems Fred Dude is gonna seal the GT win with that kind of performance right now. That kind of speed in the car here for these final couple of important laps, all important laps. And in turn, that could mean that he takes back the GT Pro Championship standings lead from Joe of the Fire. Jimmy did, I think, really overfuel. Let's have a look. Oh, he's got half a tank left here with a couple of laps to go. It's a bit of a shame because those 4.5 seconds, Jimmy is finding himself down on Joe of the Fire. That could perhaps have been a better result for the Scotsman, who's driven a good race. Hasn't really made any mistakes or anything. So, but the GT Pro class also pretty close here all the way to the end, between the top 3 runners at least. Here's Martin through the launch pad chicane. Certainly a dangerous point indeed. 3.5 laps to go for the Dutchman in the lead. Into the hairpin he goes. He's gone well into the 15s as well during this race. 15.7. That is impressive from TSR Martin. Oh, into the pit goes Armored Core with damage. And it's happened outside of the replay range that we had, but nonetheless, Armored Core now behind Wake up and back up into 3rd place. Armored Core with an ill-timed incident. Whatever happened, it was ill-timed. And now there's a hunt. There's an active hunt going on yet again here over the last couple of laps. For Armored Core had a big battle and a big fight trying to get through on Wake last time out. Now here he goes. He's gonna have to try and force his way through on Fred Dude. Fred Dude, of course, defending a gap that isn't too big down to Joe of the Fire. Doesn't have the time really to mess around as well here. And what? Now was that lag or what? It sure looked very strange. Look at how Armored Core. That stuff there, that didn't look like contact to me necessarily, and there wasn't any damage. Very nice lag. Emilius, welcome. I think tires aren't that worn. Let's see for Armored Core. They're very worn indeed, so it might have been a mistake that he didn't. I certainly would have in his position. Now he isn't going to have anything to do basically with the last 3 laps here. He's gonna be a sitting duck. Bruh. Martin up by 40 seconds. CJ, he's flown under the radar for the entire race. But he's kept a cool head. He's kept a hold of 2nd place. And that in turn is gonna help the Mad Greek greatly in the fight for the overall championship. Impressive stuff to keep that alive in Tomahawk. That seems to be a little underpowered compared to the 919s. Here is Joe of the Fire, 2.8 seconds down on Fred Dude. Seems not really to be able to do too much about the Belgian. Does seem set to regain the lead in the standings from the Witty Professor here yet again. So Martin's coming on to the final lap here, and that's those small moments of lag we're having there, here and there. It just all of a sudden Martin seems like he's had a lot of contact there with the front of the car. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but the final lap it is. TSR Martin on his way to a brilliant victory here at Dragon Trail Gardens. It's been a very good performance from the Dutchman. And it's not gonna be double Belgian, but it's gonna be that Fred dude is Flemish. It's gonna be een heel goede nacht. And Martin, as he rounds the final corner, I've promised to do this for him. Wat een overwinning voor TSR Martin. Mooie wedstrijd. And he takes the checkered flag with a bit of Dutch to lead him across the line. He is blessed indeed. Joe of the Fires crossed the line for second place in the GTs. That means Fred dude just about got onto that final lap. Jimmy's crossing the line, third step on the podium. Two TSR drivers on that podium as well today. ERT Ben's gonna come home for fourth. There is CJ taking second with a strong performance, a strong drive. Wake not able really to take advantage of the 919, but coming home in front of Armored Core in the end, and it's gonna be Maverick coming home for fifth place. And then in the end, doing that extra lap here, it is Fred dude after a brilliant challenge as well here in the GTs and a race-long fight with both Joe of the Fire and TSR Jimmy. Well, he came out on top even after an entire stint without wheels. However that was possible. Fred dude takes the GT win here from Dragon Trail Gardens. And there it is across the line. Congratulations to our two race winners. Indeed, overfueling Jimmy. I saw that. What a shame, because you'd be right up and close to Joe in the end, I think. Of course, you picked up some damage, I see as well. That's anything but lucky. And that I've tried that so many times myself, racing in the GTs and not really accounting for doing less laps than the LMPs. It's so annoying. Oh, there's so much stuff to take account for. But that's life as a race driver. You live and you learn. Congratulations to our winners, Fred Dude and Martin of the TSR squad. And of course the podium finishes, CJ and Wake in the LMPs, and Joe of the Fire and Jimmy in the GTs as well. Ballast does indeed get reset after this race, so it's just the ballast from this race that carries on into next round, which will be Fuji in 2 weeks from now. So a break next Sunday with no broadcast going on whatsoever. Anyways, race results are appearing, I think, shortly on your screen. There it is. And that's what I mean, shortly, because they just appear and then they disappear. Congratulations, as I said before, to Martin, to Fred Dude, and with that, Bouncy Heads is about to happen. And we're gonna invite our podium finishers for tonight, and that'll be Fred Dude, Joe and Jimmy, Martin, Wake and CJ. That's half the field getting interviewed today. No, Ryan. Sadly, no Sunday broadcast. Unless we figure out something else to do next week. That could very well be in the end. You never know. Maybe first for Dirt Rally. What's up, Jimmy?
Hello.
Nice to have you along.
Hello.
And let's just start from third place on the GT, since you were first in the party as well, Jimmy. It's been a while since you've been in the NES, so just getting in here and hopping in and grabbing a podium place can't be that bad, especially given the overfueling there on the final pit stop.
Yeah, I would have been a lot closer to Fred if I hadn't put so much fuel in, but I didn't account for lesser laps. So, you know, crap happens, I guess.
Yeah. That'll be lessons learned. Until next time, teammate Joe of the Fire, there in second place, the Professor of Wits. Seems yet again you've had a little bit of trouble keeping up with the M6 on the more technical tracks. Was that also your feeling today out there?
Yeah, definitely. I also had to rush it into doing a free stop because the tyres just weren't lasting. Yeah, qualifying, I somehow got a good lap in there, but then I can't keep that pace up at all. It just drops off.
Indeed. Excuse me, the sick boy. Now, yet again, with Fred Dude taking the lead, Joe, are you still a believer when it comes to your championship chances?
Yeah, I think so. Still got, half the season to go. Plenty of races to win and get ahead. I've got the ballast resetting now.
That might help the handling, of course, as well. Anyways, congratulations on second place, and best of luck with the rest of your championship duel. Leads me to Fred Dude. Congratulations on yet another win today, yet another very, very strong performance in the BMW M6. It seems you have a little bit of an edge over the competition on these technical courses. Is that the feeling you're sitting with when you're going around on track?
Yeah, I think the M6 has a better cornering advantage. And I know the car pretty well by now because I've driven it for a long time now, so I know which parts the car is strong at and which the car is less strong at. So I had quite a good feeling the car would be good around here because of the many corners around here. So yeah, I had a good feeling about this race.
And you had a little bit of a moment there with your countryman Cesar Wake as he came to pass you along. What was your take on that entire situation?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that because I did not expect for him to go up into the inside of me. So that was kind of like a surprise for me. So because I was just trying to stay on my waistline as much as I could. But I honestly didn't expect him to be wide alongside, like right there. So that was, yeah.
Was there some swear words uttered in Flemish from your cockpit in that situation? Somewhat verdomme?
I was just genuinely surprised he punched the car up to the end like that. Look, I didn't got damage from that, but unfortunately he did got damage from that. But yeah, I think after that everything went safely. So yeah.
Well, you know what they say, BMW, German build quality. Fred Dude, it's all the more impressive that you bring home the win, even with that situation taken into consideration. A big congratulations on yet another race win, and yeah, as I said to Joe as well, best of luck for the rest of the season with your championship fight. That's going to take us to the LMP podium. TSR Wake, the culprit, the man behind the incident take us through what happened there in that incident between you and Fred Dude.
Well, I tried to lap Fred Dude, and I guess I got a little bit impatient, and I thought that there was space on the inside through the S's, and yeah, he drove the racing line, so yeah, that's what he should do, and I got a little bit impatient and got in contact with his car and got some damage on the bumper and the right wheel.
And so in the end, third place for you. You might be losing the championship lead. I can't really figure that out as we sit there.
He's still ahead by 2 points.
Oh, he's still ahead by 2 points. So, so close call there. But are you with everything taken into consideration? Are you satisfied with third place?
Yes. After the incident, it was actually damage limitations, and seeing how fast the armored core was, I'm actually happy with third place. Keeping armored core behind wasn't really easy, but I placed my car strategically through the course, and I was able to keep him behind, even though I think he was miles faster than me. But my wake could keep him behind me. And then after then he got the accident, and eventually I got third, I think.
Oh well, Wake, as I said, congratulations in the end on third place and on a victory for your teammate Martin, and still being ahead, albeit just by a very slight little bit in the championship fight against, which leads me to, I'm so good with these transitions today. Volex, Crazy John the Mad Greek, second place in the LMP Pro category today. CJ, quite impressive given that the Tomahawk certainly didn't look like the strongest car on track pace-wise today. You certainly drove one of your very most consistent races. Seemed like you kept a cool head to grab second place today. Was that your feeling out there today as well?
I'm not sure if I was surely being consistent, as I was making some mistakes here and there, mostly running wide of corners and discharging the sausage at the first chicane. However, apart from these, I believe that yeah, it was quite a consistent drive. I wasn't expecting much from the race, and second is like the best I could do in normal circumstances. I feel quite a bit lucky that Wake ended up into Fred, and I was able to seal the position then. I was a bit worried when I got spun by Fred by like 5 laps to go. Not sure he could see me on track, but he disconnected from me like a lap or 2 afterwards. But apart from that, it was still a pretty good race. Next 2 tracks will suit the non-hybrids more, and with the 2% balance I'm going to carry, it's going to be really interesting who's the one who will be on the top in the next few races. Can't wait.
Well, certainly we're all looking forward to the last part of the season and the championship fight in the LMP Pro class between you and Wake. It's been close so far. We're expecting it to be close all the way through. Anyway, CJ, great performance today, and congratulations on second place. TSR Martin, wat een overwinning. Wat een mooie wedstrijd for yourself. Wat denkt u van de race, Martin?
What I think of the race, well, your Dutch is actually really good. I do want to compliment you on that. I'm always surprised when you start popping out your Dutch. But yeah, it was good. It was a little bit uneventful, actually. It was really, really steady. So I really just got my endurance setting into my brain and just went for consistent laps. I had a little window where I could push for a quick lap. So I had a part where I was low on fuel on the super soft tires, and then I went for faster laps, which did actually get me fastest lap, which I really wasn't expecting, as my average was far slower than the fastest lap that I got in.
And for my last stint, I decided to get on a harder compound, which was a little bit of a mistake because it made my car really, really unsteady. But I'm not disappointed at all. It was good. A little bit of free flying. Yeah.
It'd be strange to be. It was strange to be dissatisfied or so with first place. But anyways, it did look like a breeze. It did look like hacking and easy from lights to flag, and it looked very, very steady. So many compliments and great performance from you to take the win. And that also brings you closer to the championship fight. So it'll be interesting to see if there's space to be made up there. Ladies and gentlemen, your LMP winner today, TSR Martin. And with that, I'm going to be saying bye. And on behalf of all the drivers who've just been talking to, thanks for taking part in the post-race interview. Of course, as you just heard, there won't be any NES racing next weekend. There won't be any IGTL racing next weekend. So we will figure something else out, I guess, for something to happen.
TSR.
TSR to the rescue. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in here to the NES today. If you tuned in to the IGTL earlier today, well, thanks for that as well. It's been a blast for this double header. And I think all that remains for me to say is leave a like if you like what we do here on the channel. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe. And with that said, until next time, my name is DirtenDK. These are the guys, the bunch. Say bye.
Bye.
And until next time, hear from everyone here on Have the Race Gone. Take care, have fun, and bye-bye.